Hey guys, this is Russ, and this is She Wolf Alchemy. And also, hey, y'all have not heard any of our voices with a new episode, at least in a minute. And today we are just doing a little check in for the people who never put down their bags and always emotionally near the exit door. And while we've talked about this subject before, I think it's time we do a little bit of a refresher. Now, I have always kept it real. This is something I have always personally struggled with myself. It's something I recently had to sit and remind myself of. And I said, you know what? If you need a reminder, other people might need a reminder too. One of the things I know I realized lately is that I'm really good at imagining being alone. That is not a fear for me. Being alone has never been a fear for me. It's never been a thing of oh my gosh, I need people near me, people by me. I think I've been very honest throughout the entirety of She Wolf Alchemy, because of certain things about the way I was raised and certain things that happened in my childhood made me feel very, very comfortable and safe when I'm alone. Being alone feels really, really easy for me. And one of the things that always felt kind of hard for me was learning how to be community and learning how to imagine love being a consistent, non-wavering thing. And I'm not even talking about passionate love. I'm not talking about dramatic love, not love in a movie scene where somebody's running through the airport. I'm talking about just consistent. And having that realization, which I have every 6 months, it kind of bothers me because I'm not somebody who thinks I'm unlovable, and I'm not somebody who hates relationships. I've been in love before, but when I try to picture someone being there every day, someone consistently checking up on me, someone showing up, somebody noticing when I'm overwhelmed and stepping in a way that's actually helpful, that does not create more things for me to have to do. My brain just starts buffering. It feels like I'm having spotty Wi-Fi connection. And it reminds me that, yeah, for some people, it just comes naturally for them to imagine forever. And with some of us, we're like, hey, this is for now. And that's great. And for some of us, it's like that's really nice for other people. I'm not really sure that's a thing that happens to people like me. Now, let's talk about some of the things that happen when you are a person who does not have a problem being alone. I think sometimes people assume that really independent people really enjoy being alone. But the truth of the matter is, well, yeah, we kind of do. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes hyper independence is not the preference. And it's more something we were molded into. We accidentally trained for. Some of us have had experience where we learned that, hey, I have to learn how to handle myself because no one else is adequately handling me. Oh, asking for things is not a safe thing. Not needing too much from others seems to be more tolerable. Seems to feel better to my nervous system than to ask and then disappointed when you see that people don't come through. Figuring it out, at least if I fail, I know I tried my best. But if I ask somebody to help me figure it out and I sit there and you just simply don't, it does something to my nervous system. There's a difference between enjoying solitude and expecting abandonment. And that line will eventually hit because those two things, sometimes it looks identical to the outside. Sometimes it even feels identical to us, but they're not because one is really just naturally peace and the other is simply preparation. And here's the thing, you can kind of have both. I know me, I know for a fact I have both. Don't get me wrong, I am a person who, after a couple of days of spending time with people, I'm like, yeah, I need to be alone. I'm dreaming about being alone. I am. Do y'all remember that Michael Jackson meme? Not meme, that Michael Jackson picture. He's in a room full of a whole bunch of Rockefeller people. And you can just tell from the look on his face, everybody else is laughing and cheering and just having so much fun. And Michael is just in that picture looking like, How the fuck I get here? I really want to go home. I knew I should not have came. I'm firing my publicist because why the fuck they got me up here like this? I knew better. I love that picture. It's one of my favorite pictures. If there was one picture I had to take and say, this represents me, it would probably be that picture. Anybody that's close to me knows, like, I am an introvert. When I say introvert, I don't mean like quiet and don't like to talk. I mean, I need to recharge after being with people. And once my social battery drains, and it drains kind of quickly, there is no such thing as me hiding it. And I get peace from going home, sitting on my patio and reading my books and being in La La Land. In fact, I recently went on vacation with the girls and I had so much fun. It was so great. But like somewhere in the middle of the trip, I was like, yeah, my next vacation gonna be alone. I actually really want to go to alone. I actually really want to go to Brazil alone. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I start booking. I start looking at trips. I start looking at hotels. I start being like, yeah, I've been going on like little mini vacations every other month this entire year. Every other month this whole year thus far. That actually looks like my schedule up until like September. And yeah, I just recently had a vacation with the girls and I had so much fun. I enjoyed it so much. But like midway through my trip, I had this realization of like, yeah, I want to travel alone. I really just want like no one to talk to me while I do my own thing in another place, in a place I'm unfamiliar with. It's because there is peace in it. I do enjoy the peace of it. But again, both things can coexist because also one of the things I have to recognize and point out to myself, there are times where I definitely feel like disappearing and I definitely just go, I do not want to deal with anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. I want to disappear. And it's out of preparation. It's out of community not feeling safe all of a sudden. It's out of community feeling very overwhelming and me feeling like I know how to regulate my nervous system when I'm by myself. I know how to feel good when I'm by myself. I know how to feel safe when I'm by myself. I know how to provide for my needs when I'm by myself. But when I'm in community, it feels overwhelming. And I have not yet mastered the art of calming my nervous system when it feels like I'm deep in communion with others. And so both of those things can exist. Just because you have one does not mean you don't also have the other. In fact, I kind of really want to talk about like the strong friend, right? Because everybody loves them, the strong friend. The strong friend is the emotional support pillar of the group. They're everybody's mamas, everybody's support person. They're the person who, when it's your birthday, they do that little something special that like you totally weren't expecting, were surprised by. They might be the person who noticed that you were telling that story and everybody started doing something else and not paying attention. They saw how that hurt you and they go, hey, finish. And what did she say? And they encourage you to keep going. They make the eye contact. They make sure you feel good. They are the person that's like, don't worry, I got the tab. I know you're struggling right now. It's cool. Like, I got you. They are the person that is just pulling a lot of emotional weight. They are the emotional Uber. Everybody gets picked up. Everybody gets dropped off. Everybody gets support. But the thing that tends to happen is nobody's really asking how much gas is left in their tank. And this can make you feel like people are just calling you strong, forgetting that you are a human too, and that you also need to be reinforced. I see this a lot with my caretakers, my mothers, my older siblings, my therapists, people who learn to be emotionally competent way, way too early. And when you learn to be emotionally competent very early, it gets mistaken for a lack of need. People start thinking like, well, it's okay if I don't do this for them because they get it, they understand. And maybe you do, but like what happens when this is the last straw of you wanting to understand and you watching everybody else get the support and love that you wanted and you needed, but since you built for it, tough or whatever, they figured you can go a little bit out of it. This person over here, the squeaky wheel, they're sensitive and they need more. But it can hurt. It can sting because you're like, why isn't my support rewarded? So what do? You emotionally put yourself near the exit door. And what does this mean? Well, I'll put it this way. Have you ever loved someone whilst also preparing for them to leave? Because a lot of us do. We kind of always have an escape plan. There's no such thing as fully relaxing in a relationship, romantic or otherwise. You never fully unpack. You mentally rehearse breakups. You don't depend too much. And for these people, it's not that you have commitment issues, it's just you believe in always having a contingency plan. And that's a separate issue because with people with commitment issues, they don't want to stay. People with contingency plans, they want to stay, but something in life has taught them that that just doesn't happen for them. And they want someone to prove them otherwise, but it just feels like life keeps giving them people they have to hold up, they have to be there for a while, not getting back the love and support that they need. And the truth of the matter is, when you are that way, your therapist probably tells you you have to learn better boundaries, you have to be better at picking people, all these things. You have to not give too much, you have to pull back. And for a lot of people, it's like, yeah, but I just don't want to stop being me. I'm that person that just notice people's emotional holes and then feel the need to fill those in. I like being able to tell when something's off and make it better. Why do I have to change? Why can't people just be better? And I'm not going to get into that here. I'm giving y'all this for the free. It costs $110 to get that from me otherwise. But it creates this conundrum because you want community, but you want a community where it feels safe for you and not just you providing the safety for everybody else. And like you recognize that secure love feels amazing. But sometimes getting to that point doesn't feel very comfortable because you're not used to having it. You're not used to maintaining it. Sometimes it feels boring and boring or like suspicious or fake or uncomfortable because like I was ready to pack my bags and go, what do you mean? Let's have a conversation. I was about to cry at the bar by myself. What do you mean? Hey, I want to be there for you. I want to support you. How can I step up and how can I do that? You don't trust it because when have you had that? When have you had that and you felt that you could trust it? When has the universe taught you that, gave you an example that you can build upon to say, this is real and I can trust that this is happening? You are so used to identifying manipulation that sometimes it is hard for you to recognize pure kindness. You can spot rejection easily, but not so much consistency. Consistency feels strange because you've had very little exposure to it. And the times that you may have had people show up and try to show up consistently, it immediately raise red flags for you. Like, why are you doing this? What do you want? How long is this going to last? Because, like, when you going to slip up? Let me just self sabotage just a little bit sooner so I can hurry up and get the pain of this over with. And then a lot of times what happens is afterwards, once we let that emergency exit door open and slipped on out, you reminisce about the past, about the time you did have somebody and it really felt safe and magical. And it really did feel like, damn, this is what real, genuine friendship looks like. This is what equal friendship looks like. This is what not carrying the load by myself looks like. This is what it feels like to have someone who supports you fully and knows how to equally pull their weight in a friendship or in a relationship. I want you to sit and we're going to do a little bit of an exercise. If I ask you to imagine plans with a friend, paint the picture for me. Is it going out? Is y'all hanging at the crib? Is it y'all cooking together, listening to some new music? Whatever it is, picture it. Picture you getting ready for it. And picture them canceling. Is that easy? Now imagine sitting with somebody, holding their hand, feeling loved, and growing old together. Imagine that love for lasting 5 years, 10 years. Okay, let's imagine it lasting 40 years. Let's imagine it lasting 50 years. Could we do that? Was that difficult? Hell, did we have a little bit of a panic attack? Did it feel like our brain just exploded? If it is easier for you to imagine disappointment than it is for you to emotionally process consistency, foreverness, I want you to start allowing yourself to practice processing things at a smaller pace. Okay, we can't process forever. Cool. Me either, girl. Same. I I too am working through that. But you know what I can process? I can process a good Tuesday. I can process like seeing how my clients and it's going like super good and taking my baby to the park after and her meeting some kids and them playing and just seeing her happiness. I can process that. I could process like sitting on my patio under a full moon, just kind of looking at the stars, looking at the sky, maybe doing a little bit of a meditation, just really taking it in. I can imagine that. Sometimes the problem isn't the picture, it's the scale of the picture. So if ever feels like too big, if fully supported feels like, ah, girl, I can't imagine that. That's too much. Scale it down. Can I imagine someone that actually cares when they ask me, how's my day? Let's start with that. Can I imagine someone giving me a ride to the airport and it's not being a big deal? Okay, let's start with that. If forever it seems too big, we can start smaller and work our way up to it. If you're a person who likes to sit next to the emotional safety exit door, okay, I'm not asking you to get to the middle of the room and turn your back towards the door. But I'm even asking, like, maybe instead of standing right next to the door, can we like sit 2 feet away from it? And if that feels comfortable, like, can we move towards the bar? This is all a metaphor, by the way. The problem isn't always the commitment to the idea of better, of more, of stable. Sometimes the problem is just the scale we're using. Sometimes the reason our brains can't imagine things like forever is because our brain is trying to protect us from promises that, yeah, sometimes we can't guarantee, which is why I want you to start your healing with something that feels smaller than forever, but still better than where you are. Learn to receive and not just perform and not earn and not prove. A lot of independent people are really excellent at giving, but we are horrible at receiving. Start letting yourself be around people who do for you. Hell, one of the things I recently had to tell myself is too, sometimes also you have great people in your life and you're like, but these people do not fulfill my needs. They're there. They're a support, but they're not an adequate support. I need you to check in with that too, because sometimes it is hard for us to believe because we don't have the adequate support system set up for us. Diversify your support. That's not saying you got to get rid of everybody. There are some people who genuinely love you. They just do not have what it takes to support you the way you need to be supported. But then diversify your support. Get closer to people who can. Go out and purposely try to find those who are like you. If you are the entrepreneur of your group and you're the person that's business minded, you're the person that's a big thinker, you're the person that now when I got an idea, I always do it, but nobody in your group is like that, it can start to weigh on you. It can start to feel like, dang, I got nobody I can bounce ideas off of. I got nobody to encourage me and is motivated. I feel like I'm the only one pushing. That's not to say you got to drop those folks, but it's to say, okay, now I need to go out and find at least one person like that with me because I am missing that. I'm craving that. I'm missing that type of bond. Be okay with diversifying where you get your support. Again, we don't have to change the narrative. We can just work on the scale. You don't have to imagine 40 years, and maybe you don't have to have your pictures start at growing old together. For some of us, that's just too big. But maybe the first step is simply believing that someone can consistently show up for us. Someone can consistently care for us without being forced. And what are the little things that would kind of show that to you? Would the little things be someone asking you, "Did you eat?" and finding out no and be like, "Look, let me come cook something for you. Let me come bring you a plate." Could the little things that show that be someone that checks on you every day and they remember the things that you say? Maybe it's being, I remember I dated somebody who um, asked me one time we were dating, it was going really, really well. And they were like, "I want to know your favorite of everything." And I said, "What?" He said, "I want to know your favorite everything. I want to know your favorite color. I want to know your favorite restaurant. I want to know your favorite type of movie. I want to know your favorite type of wine, your favorite drink." And the rest of the time when he dated, he would just surprise me with things from that list because he wanted to show care. He wanted to show that I care about the things that make you happy. And so this is me trying to show consistency by cutting me up and doing it all, by giving you those things. Now, the Negro had issue with some other stuff. We had to let him go. We had to let him go. I hated to do it. I hated to do it. But we did have to let him go. That's not the point. I'm getting sidetracked. But figure out what is a simple way to believe in that smaller thing, and then we can build upon that. It's not to say you stay small, but again, if that big future thing is too much, okay, what's something small I can believe in? Once we master that, let's make it bigger. Maybe the first step is imagining 6 months, not forever. Someone checking in, someone showing up, someone making room for you, someone staying long enough that you stop reaching for the emergency exit every time things get too good or a little bit rocky. Because sometimes some of us that are very independent, it's not that we are running from love, it's that we are waiting for enough evidence that it's safe to put our bags down. And I want that for you. I want you to be able to put your bags down. I want you to be able to put your clothes in the closet. I want you to be able to not have love that always feels like it's on the run. Now, that's all I have for today's check in. I hope you guys enjoy. We will be doing episodes every other week because it's still summertime, y'all. We still traveling. Hell, I got 2 more vacations in the next 30 days. We cannot do every week. But you guys will hear a new episode every 2 weeks. We missed y'all. We hope y'all missed us too. I mean, hopefully. And that's all I have for today's episode. So be sure to leave a review wherever you're listening. Um, sorry guys, I'm a little rusty. What else? Like, follow us on Instagram at She Wolf Alchemy. Leave us a review wherever you're listening. And other than that, you hear the sound of our voices. And 2 weeks. Bye.